Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2024 movie titled Boy Kills World. Please be advised that there might be spoilers ahead. In this dystopian world, the villainous Van der Kooi family rules the city. Every year, Hilda, the head of the family, chooses 12 citizens she despises to take part in the culling, which culminates in their deaths on public television. Boy is a youngster who lives a humble existence with his strange mother, who appears to be a member of the resistance, and sister, Mina. The siblings spend a lot of time together, whether it's at the arcade or just watching TV and eating cereal. Mina would occasionally make wild schemes for the future, such as robbing a bank jointly to get out of this miserable city. She also enjoys giving Hilda's statue the finger with her whole hand. Unfortunately, the siblings are eventually chosen for the culling, and Boy is forced to witness his family being slain by Hilda. He is also injured and left for dead in the jungle. The shaman soon finds him and brings him back to life. However, one of his injuries is permanent. The young boy is now deaf and mute. He can't recall what his voice used to sound like, so he thinks about his favorite video game's narration. From that point on, the shaman begins preparing Boy in order for him to kill Hilda and exact revenge. He incorporates many forms of exercise, such as martial arts, strength training by rolling a statue's head up a hill, and weapons training. Boy is constantly buried in the dirt and breathes through a bamboo stick, feeding on the bugs that crawl down the stick. If he climbs out of the mud too soon, the shaman chastises him and buries him again. The boy also undertakes all of the household duties and spends time with his soul buddies, two beetles. The boy is frustrated since the shaman grows his own food, which is limited in quantity. Some evenings, the shaman administers uppers that cause Boy to hallucinate and recall past experiences in order to keep him focused on his goal. However, most of the time, he notices strange things happening around him. Boy occasionally goes to the city to practice reading lips, and when someone approaches him, he shows them a small piece of paper describing his position. He also sees Mina everywhere, since he is unable to move on. As the years pass, Boy pushes his body to its limits and develops into a strong young man as the training becomes more difficult. During another practice session, he captures the shaman in a hold and is about to defeat him, but he is distracted by another vision of Mina. The shaman seizes the opportunity to beat him and thinks he isn't ready. The boy then tries to meditate to clear Mina's hallucinations, but it doesn't work. The next time he travels to town, Boy observes a cute flower girl who hands him a flower and smiles flirtatiously. Unfortunately, the romantic moment is cut short as government soldiers arrive and begin chasing people to gather 12 for the next culling. As everyone panics and wanders around aimlessly, Boy hides and sees Gideon and Glenn join the army. They are part of the Van der Kooi family, and seeing them brings back memories for Boy. After assembling everyone in the square, Glenn delivers a speech to announce the 12 chosen ones. Glenn begins pestering a poor family, and a woman in the audience insults him for it, so he shoots her. This prompts the audience to go insane, so Gideon summons the security head, June 27th, to handle it. She instantly kills a man with an axe, chopping off his arm first. Then she starts killing everyone who complains, as her helmet displays changing words to match her voice. Boy watches as his horrific memories are triggered, but the shaman stops him from helping since he is not prepared. In the end, only 6 people remain for the cull, and Glenn chastises June 27th, who refuses to take any children. After a debate in sign language, Boy disobeys the shaman and begins rushing across the roofs to catch up with the enemy. The group is now stalled in traffic, so Boy goes behind one of the cars and enters the trunk with a dead body. Later, at a warehouse, Boy emerges and witnesses Melanie chastise his relatives for only getting 6 people instead of 12. She then instructs Gideon to gather 6 more people from the street to complete the number. Boy suddenly recognizes Mina's hallucination next to him and starts arguing with her in his head, losing track of the opponent. He begins snooping around the warehouse while the phony Mina pushes forward, impersonating ninjas. Boy, forgetting she isn't real, tackles her to save her from an impending wagon and is noticed by Glenn, who sends the guards after him. The boy rushes to hide Mina in a locker and snatches a gun, but then remembers that the shaman taught him that he is the weapon. Ready for vengeance, Boy emerges and begins battling the troops hand in hand, killing them one by one with his powerful fists, a knife, and the men's own guns. As the troops begin to fire, he uses a body as a shield, and a slave named Basho throws him a gun that does not contain bullets. After stealing a stronger gun from the dead, Boy shoots a few soldiers before fleeing to hide with Basho, who agrees to help Boy kill Hilda if he breaks free from his chains. Boy fires the chains to break them, then continues to murder more soldiers while Basho hides behind a wagon. Every adversary is defeated one by one because of Boy's incredible powers, but one soldier refuses to die. Boy continues to battle him, and ultimately his hand becomes locked in a machine, preventing him from moving. However, the soldier simply pulls, leaving his arm behind to battle Boy again. Boy ultimately stops him this time by cutting off his legs. Basho celebrates their triumph, but Glenn suddenly opens fire on them. He misses his shots, and Basho shoots back, injuring him in the leg. Boy prepares to kill Glenn, but Basho reminds him that they can use him for information. Glenn is probed and reveals that Hilda hosts a party at her estate every year prior to the culling. He even offers to assist them. Unfortunately, Basho drops a large object on Glenn's head, killing him. As the two exit the warehouse, Boy observes a shadow observing them from a distance. Basho brings him to the Resistance's secret location, only to find it vacant. Benny suddenly holds Boy at gunpoint before putting his gun down as Basho mentions Boy's allegiance. Benny says that the soldiers attacked though Boy had difficulty reading his lips. Basho had a breakdown after learning that his girlfriend had also died, and Boy consoled him. The squad devises a plan to infiltrate the party, but Boy is distracted by Mina and memories from his youth. In fact, he still has the drawing Mina created as a child. When Basho and Benny explain the ultimate plan to Boy, he doesn't understand, but he nods along since Mina instructs him to. After gathering some weapons, they leave in a van and arrive at the mansion. They take out a couple guards and even a chef, whose uniform Boy uses to gain entry to the celebration. Boy has no idea what chefs do and walks around the house awkwardly until he is distracted by macaroons, which he has never had before. Fortunately, Basho, who is wearing a guard uniform, notices him and urges him to return to work. When Boy sees Hilda nearby, he becomes enraged and begins to play the chef. He goes to the kitchen and takes off his uniform, causing the other workers to assault him. Boy uses a grater to tear their flesh in the most horrible ways, killing them. Then he takes Butcher's knife and heads to the dining hall, where he slits a guard's throat before jumping on the person at the head of the table and decapitating her. Boy celebrates his murder of Hilda, only to realize that it is the wrong person. Suddenly, Gideon appears with a group of guards and explains that the folks at the table are actors since they expect dumb resistance members each year. Boy captures Gideon with his own gun, but June 27th hits him from behind, causing him to let Gideon go by accident. A fierce brawl breaks out between June 27th and Boy, who exchange punches all around the room, using any object their hands can grasp. As they leave the dining room, Boy delivers a hard strike that knocks June 27th's helmet off. Mina then appears and says the woman is attractive, distracting Boy. This gives June 27th an opportunity to force him over the balcony and knock him out. While unconscious, Boy begins to have nightmares about the past, including the execution of his mother and siblings, the government cutting out his tongue, and hanging from a tree. He recalls the shaman rescuing him and transporting him into the woods, where he was trained to exact revenge. When Boy awakens, he is strapped to a chair, and June 27th punches him as she asks him where to find the shaman. Boy instead insults her, prompting her to throw an axe close to his head. Gideon forces her to leave so that he can take charge, only to explain that he is weary of all the cruelty and culling. He offers Boy a cigarette, which he eats while explaining that Hilda is a shadow of her former self since she spent years in a bunker becoming overly paranoid and violent. Gideon is aware that they are no longer killing opponents, but rather innocent civilians. He claims he can stop it all if Boy surrenders the shaman, but Boy refuses, and Gideon punches him. Melanie arrives at that point and paints Boy's lips before stating that he will be the main attraction of the culling. Boy is then tied up in the studio and fitted with a shock collar. Soon, the show begins and Hilda appears, but instead of reading the teleprompter, she begins talking in obvious paranoia. When she detects a shadow in the audience, she pulls out a gun, which Melanie orders the guards to take. Boy remembers that Gideon hid a scalpel in his pocket and got it out to begin cutting down the ropes. Meanwhile, Melanie explains that this year's culling will be themed around a winter wonderland, complete with cereal mascots and evil elves. A group of people in disguise emerge and begin killing the 12 participants in a variety of brutal yet imaginative ways, filling the fake snow with gobs of blood. One of the killers pursues Boy, who uses his legs to put the assailant down in seconds. Then he finally frees himself and walks to the stage, only for Melanie to trigger his shock collar, bringing him down. 4 elves instantly grab him and hold him down, waiting for the goat man to kill him. However, the guy hits an elf with his hammer instead. The other elves barely have time to respond before the goat man kills them as well. When he removes the goat's head, it is revealed to be Basho. The crowd panics when Benny barges in with an open fire. Melanie ends the transmission, and Gideon smiles. As the crowd leaves the studio, Benny continues to shoot whatever remains, and Basho reveals to Boy how they tracked him down by sneaking about in soldier costumes. Then Benny hands Boy a brass knuckle gun that fires bullets whenever he punches someone. The 3 rush back into action, handily slaying any enemy who dares to engage them. Melanie can see behind the cameras that Gideon planned this and aimed a gun at him as he attempted to flee. The action continues, with Boy fighting a pirate mascot with a knuckle and a carrot off a snowman. Soon, he runs out of bullets, but Benny throws him a clip, and he reloads the knuckle to punch and fire the pirate in the face simultaneously. Boy notices Mina, who is afraid of this side of him. Melanie attempts to use the opportunity to shoot him, so Benny tackles him to save him and is shot instead. Basho fires back, scaring Melanie into hiding, and Benny dies in Boy's arms, screaming something Boy doesn't understand. Melanie creeps around and shoots Basho before trying again with Boy. He rushes onto the stage and uses a pineapple mascot as a shield, rolling it down to knock Melanie down and grab her. Melanie is killed quickly as Boy binds her to a chair and pushes a camera against her. Then he checks on Basho, who is alive but extremely weak. He still wants to fight, so the trio goes down the hallway and confronts more guards. As Basho struggles to walk, Boy continues to kill every guy in his path, fueling his need for vengeance with memories of his family's deaths. Several minutes of combat later, all of the guards are dead, and Boy awakens to find Basho has died from his wound. Nearby, Boy discovers Gideon, who was also shot by Melanie. Gideon uses his final energy to give Boy a key card to Hilda's bunker. When Boy is about to kill him out of mercy, Mina appears and stops him. The boy finally tells her she's dead, and he doesn't need her anymore. The hallucination fades, and Boy murders Gideon. Next, Boy enters the elevator, and Hilda appears on the screen, saying he will die for nothing. The boy presents Mina's drawing and says he is doing it for her, prompting Hilda to hang up. The elevator carries him to the bunker, and when the doors open, the guards do not fire. June 27th brings Boy to the main room, where he notices some family artwork of him and Mina as children. Hilda runs to hug him and apologizes for not recognizing him, revealing that Boy and Mina are her children. As she tells him what happened, Boy begins to remember the truth. He had participated in the culling, but not as a victim. The real victims were the shaman, his son, a woman he mistook for his mother, and her daughter. Hilda ordered Boy to fire the gun in order to murder them, but he only managed to kill the children and the woman before suffering a breakdown. His firing grew inconsistent, and everyone panicked, allowing the shaman to flee. The boy, overwhelmed with shame, fled into the forest to grieve alone. The shaman found him and started to choke him, but paused when he had a sudden insight. He kidnapped the child and then began brainwashing him to change his memories. He even wounded the boy, convincing him that the wounds were caused by the government. The shaman severed Boy's tongue and burned his ears to make him more controlled. Returning to the present, Hilda concludes the story by stating that Boy has been killing his aunts and uncles. She also reveals that June 27th is Mina. As Boy collapses to his knees in astonishment, Hilda demands confirmation that her son is still there, and she slaps him when he does not respond. She decides that this isn't her son anymore and instructs Mina to kill him. Mina, convinced that Boy is no longer her brother, begins beating him up and is ready to kill him with her axe, but she freezes when Boy lifts his hand. Mina, recalling the day with the statue, turns around and murders her mother instead. Another family member sounds an alarm, and the siblings flee to safety as the soldiers start fire. They collect some hidden weapons and hurry down the passage, where they begin killing all of the approaching soldiers. They constitute an excellent team and can easily murder any man who dares to oppose them. Suddenly, 3 guards enter with powerful firearms, wounding Mina. Fortunately, she is still stronger. She joins Boy to take on another soldier, using him as a shield to escape through the hallway. They approach the man with the Gatling gun, which Mina pulls down while Boy uses his own weapons to murder him. As more troops arrive, the siblings rush to the lift to escape. Hilda explains that she has been hunting for him for years and has only injured others because she believed they had wounded him. The elevator abruptly reaches a new floor, and when they open the doors, they face the shaman. The shaman tells Boy in sign language that he should kill Mina because she is also a member of the bad family, but Boy refuses. Mina rapidly assaults the shaman and scores a few hits, but he easily defeats her. Just as the shaman is ready to execute her, Boy attacks him, compelling him to let her go. The siblings then band together to assault the shaman, but the shaman's lightning-fast reflexes and clever attacks injure the siblings severely. He also attacks Mina with a headbutt, shattering her helmet and causing her to bleed profusely from the shards. Now Boy is facing the shaman alone. After a few moves, he snatches the man's necklace and uses it to deliver many cuts. As he throws the shaman around the room, he accidentally drops the necklace, which the shaman snatches and uses to hack open Boy's leg and arm. Boy grabs the shaman's hands and, with the help of a vision of his younger self, pushes down the necklace, killing his mentor. After screaming in physical and emotional misery, Boy checks on Mina and confirms her survival. She wants him to leave, but he takes her up, and they go together. Boy recalls their days in the arcade, mentioning that it's better to have a player as well. Later, the siblings are in an abandoned structure, eating cereal as they did in the past. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.